Hey you guys, it's Peter, and welcome to my channel, Peterisms, where I tell stories of my life and just little things that I have learned as I have grown into the person that I am today. And it is such a beautiful day in Indianapolis today. It is upper 70s. I think on the way back from brunch, I looked over at the thermometer. I looked over at the temperature gauge in Alex's car, and it said that it was 77 degrees outside. Which is much different than the mid-90s that we've been having. So it's just a beautiful day, and I had a little bit of iced coffee left over from last night. And so I brought my coffee home from our brunch place, Cafe Patashu, that we go to, and I put it in here with 2 pumps of the toasted marshmallow and mixed it all up together. And so having a little bit of coffee out here on the front porch. And Alex is watching some TV shows and binge watching his shows and catching up with them upstairs in bed with little Mr. Boo Radley. So I thought I would make a few videos. I'm going to make this video, and then I think a review video, and then I think I'm going to vlog for a little bit, and then I'm going to listen to my audiobook, and when it starts getting dark, watch a little bit of Fear of the Walking Dead, as well as Big Brother tonight. So, a very relaxing Sunday. I talk about this on my vlog quite a bit, but I don't know the last time that I've talked about it over here. I love Sundays. Sundays are probably my favorite day of the week. When I was growing up as a kid, my mom was very involved in the church that we went to, so she would teach Sunday school, and then we would go to the main service of the church. So we were at church from like 9 a.m. until like noon or something like that, or 11. And then on the way home, we would stop at this bakery here in Indianapolis called Roslyn Bakery. There were several different locations. It's since closed down. But she would let me get like 1 or 2 donuts, and then I could pick out like, you know, a cookie or 2. And they always had the most wonderful like Halloween and Christmas themed Easter cookies and things like that, and the best icing in the entire world. And so I would get like, you know, a glazed donut and some other kind of like frosted donut, and then I get like some kind of special, you know, cookie, jack-o'-lantern cookie or something like that. And we would come home, and I would read the comics and the newspaper while I was eating my donuts, and my mom would get our Sunday lunch together, which was typically like tuna fish salad sandwiches, which I didn't eat a lot of fish growing up. Well, I've never eaten really a lot of fish in my entire life, and I'm a vegetarian today. But tuna fish was one of the things I could eat, like tuna fish salad sandwiches. And so she would make like tuna fish salad sandwiches or turkey sandwiches, and then she would make chicken noodle soup, and that would be our lunch. And then we would have like a big like Sunday, you know, supper later, and we would watch like a TV show or 2, and then I would, you know, get into bed and I would read, and it would be an early night. And so Sundays were always just for relaxing and preparing ourselves for the week ahead. And I think because Sundays were always so, you know, homey and just, you know, centered around food and books and TV shows and things like that, I've always loved Sundays. So, it's a very relaxing day, and, you know, I always ask Alex when we're at brunch, I'm like, so what are your plans for the week, if he's got any dinners planned or anything like that, and we kind of like, you know, organize our schedule for the week of what I have planned and what he has planned, and, if we want to go out to dinner one night, you know, during the week, we'll plan that or whatever. And if I have plans, you know, I'll let him know what my plans are. And so we kind of get everything organized on Sundays, and then we just enjoy our Sunday evenings, and I love it so much. So I thought I would sit down and do a Peterisms video. And I was sitting here and I was thinking about like just pulling some meditation books, which I actually did. I pulled the Soul's Companion, and I'm going to read a meditation from this in a second before I get into the meat and potatoes of this video. But I was reading through some comments on this video the other day, or one of the videos on this channel the other day, and somebody commented and said, I can't wait to see you do the video of the assignments at the beginning of the Soul's Companion. And I was like, oh my god, I totally forgot to do that video. So I don't know if you guys know what I'm talking about, but I read a meditation from here the other day, and I love this book so much. I'm gonna get into it in just a second, and share with you guys what this book is about. But my mom actually gave me a copy. This is the copy that my mom gave me on my 5th sobriety birthday. And she said in here, on your 5th birthday, I love you. Merry Christmas, because my birthday is December 17th, my sobriety birthday. Now on to the new millennium. Let our souls take flight, she put. Love, Mom. P.S. I love you too with all of my heart and soul. And so anyway, I love this book so much. I love these little daily affirmation books, you know that. And but when I was going through it the other day, I noticed something I had never noticed about this before, which was that there are these assignments that it says how to use this book, and then it has all these different like writing prompts and things in here for if you journal. And so I said, oh, I'm going to do a whole video talking about that, right? And then I kind of forgot to do the whole video, and then I was reading through the comments. So thank you. I don't remember who said that, but to whoever said, I can't wait for that video, thank you for reminding me, because I too want to know what the assignments are. And I actually, you know, I got done with that video that day, and I started uploading it, and I didn't even look in here to see what the assignments were, and I haven't. So we'll get to those in just a second, but I thought that we would start today's video with the meditation for today. So it is August 27th. And the meditation is called Unconscious Anger. The kind of anger that I use as a hiding place is largely unconscious. Acting it out is simply another way to keep it unconscious or to not feel it. When I get triggered, I blame someone else. I see the other as responsible for my bitterness. I did this for a long time. My unconscious is saying, you are of great significance because I depend on you for my happiness, for my position or prestige. Through you, I fulfill. So you are important to me. I must guard you. I must possess you. Through you, I escape from myself. And when I am thrown back upon myself, being fearful of my own state, I become angry. Wow, this is powerful. Anger takes many forms: disappointment, resentment, bitterness, jealousy. When I project it mindlessly onto someone else, making it about them rather than me, I disown a piece of myself, and I lose my potential to learn about how I really feel. I am able to own my own anger. And then there is a quote, and it says, we condemn others, and that very condemnation is a justification of ourselves. Without some kind of attitude, whether self-righteous or self-abasement, what are we? And I love this meditation, you know, and I have to say that I did this for a very long time in my life, where if I was angry, you know, and there's something that in recovery that we talk about, which is called justifiable anger. And justifiable anger is where, I mean, it's just exactly how it sounds. It's that you are justified in your anger because of something that happened to you. And that could be something that happened to you, you know, with childhood trauma, abuse in relationships, neglect, you know, betrayal, things like that. That's justifiable anger, right? But I think many of us get angry or borrow anger in day-to-day situations, and then that anger kind of like festers and turns into something else, which to me is resentment, right? And resentment for me is defined as an unfulfilled expectation. When I expected that somebody or something should have turned out or should have acted a certain way that they didn't, right? And a resentment is really a grudge that you hold over a long period of time. What I have noticed in my life, and this has been told to me many, many times, but I think I had to fully realize it for myself, is that, like, let's say if I had a resentment against such and such person, right? And, I mean, every day I would think about this, you know? I would think about, oh my God, what they did to me and blah, 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 whatever. And then down the road, what I realized is that they were going on and they were living their happy life, and I'm not talking, okay, this is not talking about justifiable anger or really deep-seated issues and things like that. This is talking about more just day-to-day anger, right? And what I realized was that they had gone on with their lives and were living their lives, and they didn't really even realize that I was still angry or upset about things. And that's what we talk about when we talk about allowing people to rent space in our head for free, you know? I have let so many people in so many situations rent space for free in my head, where it just almost kind of consumes me. And what I have to realize at that point is that anger is mine. That anger is mine to own, and I get to choose what I do with that anger. I can choose to stay angry, or I can choose to work through that anger and say, you know, not that it's my responsibility or that it's my fault, but it is my responsibility and it is my choice what I do with that. I can choose to stay angry, or I can choose to work through it and say, okay, well, maybe this person is a sick person. Not that that excuses what they did, but maybe it helps me understand it a little bit more, you know? Or maybe it was timing, or maybe I misunderstood the situation, or maybe I didn't go talk to them about what my feelings were at that time, you know? Not that they would have heard it, but at least me vocalizing it would have helped me. But there's a lot of things I could have done other than hold on to that anger. And, you know, I have known people, friends of my mother's especially, you know, who went through very, very, like, bitter breakups and divorces that literally held on to that anger and that bitterness for, I mean, to tell you, 10 to 20 years. And, I mean, they just were completely different people. And it was like, had this idea of, you know, like my mom used to talk about, like, Camelot, you know, and the idea of the fall of Camelot, you know, and this idea of this majestic, you know, kind of idea of marriage, and then you fall into that, and then it falls apart, and it's like, well, who am I without that person? And what they're really talking about in this meditation is a lot about codependency, is that we define ourselves in relation to somebody else, you know, and that's never healthy, you know. When I realized that I define myself in relation to myself, that I don't need anybody to define myself, my whole world opened up. Therefore, I could own my own anger, and that was powerful because I could realize, or I realized that I could choose to stay angry as long or as short as I wanted to, you know? And it makes me sad for, like, friends of my mom's that they died, you know? Being very, very bitter and angry at not just their partner that divorced them, but the situation of them being a divorced person, and that their idea of family or whatever never turned out. And this is just one example of anger, right? But didn't turn out the way that they thought it would when they were 20 years old, and now they're 70 or they've passed on, right? And it's like, but you're never promised that. You're never promised that perfection. And so you missed out on 20 years of your life. I don't want to miss out on 20 years of my life of being bitter and angry, miserable and resentful. I don't want to miss out on that, you know? And trust me when I say this, I have a lot of things in my life that I could be justifiably angry about. You know, I have a lot of things, and I think most people do, that we have a lot of things that we could say, well, this happened to me when I was 5, or this happened to me when I was 8, or this happened to me when I was 20, you know? And I'm not telling anybody just to get over it. I'm saying do the work to push yourself through it. Learn the lessons you need to learn so that it doesn't keep you stuck in anger, bitterness, resentment, you know, and this angry life, you know. I mean, I don't want to be there. I don't want anybody else to be there. So I think it's a fantastic meditation. All right, I want to read you a little bit about this book. So it's called The Soul's Companion, and it's by T.N. Dayton, Ph.D. And it says, spiritual and personal growth is a process. It happens one day at a time. Each day we must carve out a few minutes of quiet time in order to remove ourselves from the pressures and anxieties of everyday life, to calm down and tune into the deeper pulse of living, to know our souls. In The Soul's Companion, author T.N. Dayton leads you on a daily journey to soul discovery by opening each month with an inspirational poem and providing soul-revealing affirmations and enlightening quotations with the days that follow. You will soon find that soul is present all the time. It is we who waver from it. Wow. Your yearning to connect with your soul every day of the year has been answered. So I went in here and I was looking at the beginning of this book, and what I noticed was, after I read the introduction, is it says how to use this book. This is the very beginning. If you have this book, it's on page 10 in Roman numerals, and it says how to use this book as a daily reading to center yourself, quiet down, and focus your mind. As a warm-up to your own personal journaling, so you can use this as a warm-up, like to read before you start journaling, and as inspiration for writing your own daily affirmations to help you to begin your own personal affirmations book side by side with this one. I don't know, for those of you that, if you've watched this channel for a long time or my vlog, but I've mentioned on there that it's always kind of been my desire to write my own daily affirmation book, and that for years I've said that at the end of each day I was going to, like, type up, you know, like August 27th, and then, like, write down, like, I want to do it in some kind of different way, and I don't really know. If you guys have any suggestions, please put it in the comment section below of how it could be different than other things, other than just, like, you know, a thought for the day, a prayer for the day, and, like, a quote for the day. But I wanted to do that for years, so that's something I'm thinking about doing. Methods. In a quiet moment, center yourself and read an affirmation in this book. You may wish to go in order of dates, or just let the book open to any page and see what that page has to say to you. And I used to do that a lot. I typically go by the dates today, but I know a lot of people do that. I love to just, like, go, okay, what's the universe trying to tell me today? Self-honesty, the light within, coincidence, Anyway, allow whatever feelings that the reading brings up to come into your present moment. Sit with the feelings, observe the thoughts, and simply be with them. Or, if you choose, use one of the following techniques to further explore them. And then it has all of these different writing prompts, and here they are. Journal, here's the first one. Journal in the first person, keeping pen to paper, and allow your feelings to flow freely and fully onto the page. Try to write with as little break as possible. So that's basically stream of consciousness writing. Journal in the third person, describing a situation. For example, she was 17, her name was Julie, and she felt lonely in that hot summer afternoon, etc. So you write about a situation in your life in third person that maybe the meditation brings up. These are great writing prompts. Reverse roles with yourself at any time in your life and journal from or as that self in the first or third person. For example, I am 12 years old, my name is Roger, and when I look around me, I see, etc. You will be surprised at how much will emerge. These are fantastic exercises. I might try some of these. Well, I'm going to try some of these. Find a picture that speaks to you and write a monologue imagining what you're saying inside yourself from the point of view of the you in the picture. For example, I'm Lucy and I love to wear my hair like this. I'm holding my mommy's hand, etc. Find a picture of someone else with whom you have strong feelings or unfinished business. Reverse roles with them and journal as that person what you imagine they're feeling. Wow. That's really about walking inside somebody else's shoes, you know? Especially if it's unfinished business, where, like what we were talking about with having resentments or anger with that person. One of the assignments that I was given when I was in treatment that I've heard a lot of people talk about is the unsent letter, which is where, and I will tell you, if you don't have somebody professionally to process this with, or like a sponsor in recovery, this can be dangerous to just like write and have it out there. So I don't know that I would recommend that unless you do have somebody to talk to. But it was really helpful for me was to, as somebody that's like since passed on, or if it's somebody that you don't have contact with anymore, to write a letter to them that you don't ever plan on sending. Basically just getting out all of your feelings and emotions about how you feel about that situation. That was really powerful to me back in the day. Imagine someone with whom you have unfinished business and reverse roles with them. Speaking as them, describe yourself from their point of view through their eyes. For example, my name is Harry and I want to tell you something about my daughter Connie. Wow. I wonder how he comes up with these names for examples. That's where my mind goes. Write a fantasy biography of your life, not the way it was, but the way it felt. For example, I'm a little frog who lives in a tiny room in a very big house. I love these. Name 3 blocks on your path towards soul. Reverse roles with any or all blocks you feel drawn into and write a monologue as that block. For example, I am anger, I am endless, powerful, and overwhelmed Rita's life, etc. I love the name Rita, by the way, it's one of my favorite names. Reverse roles with your mother and write a journal entry describing you. Oh wow, for example, I am Betty and I am describing Daniel, he seems to me, etc. Repeat process with father. This could really open some wounds and really help. Some of these assignments are deep. Write a letter to a person who you feel you've lost but still have much to say to that has remained unspoken. This letter is for your own purpose. Speak freely and fully. It is not for mailing. This is the unsent letter. Write a letter of forgiveness asking someone you feel you have hurt for their forgiveness, or a letter you wish you would receive from someone who has hurt you asking for your forgiveness. Again, these letters are for your own benefit, not to send. I mean, this is really powerful. Write a letter to God saying any and all what you might like to say, including getting angry if you choose. Freely express all of your deepest hidden feelings to God. You know, this is an interesting one because when my mom passed away, I had a lot of anger and I wasn't really sure of that anger. And what I found later was that I was really angry at God, you know? And I was kind of like, how dare you, God, for taking the one person that meant the most to me in my life, the closest person in my life. How dare you take that person, you know? And I really struggled with that. I really struggled with that because I didn't want to be mad at God. But that was really how I felt, you know? Make a wish list for your life and write it down in a letter to God. Open up to God and tell God in a letter, or you could write this to the universe as well if you're not a spiritual person. Open up to God and tell God in a letter what you like best about yourself and what you are ashamed of. Describe to God in a letter how you would like your life to be. Outline, for example, a 5-year plan for your life. Write a letter to God describing what kind of relationships you would like to have in your life, and describe how you would like your work life to look. Remember, your journal is for you. It is your place to express your thoughts and feelings freely and fully. When you journal, ask the editor in you to take a nap and allow your inner voice to come forward in a sincere, open, and uncensored manner. Change begins from within and then extends outward. Something from outside can stimulate it, but until it happens inside of us, it's not ours. Deep personal reflection can create a paradigm shift, a change in perception, or a shift in the way we see both ourselves and our world. Viewing the world as alive with soul entails just such a shift in perception. A quiet, subtle shift with a profound, life-altering effect. It is your experience, a quiet happening in the privacy of your own soul. It is a process and happens one day at a time. With warmest wishes for a happy and full life, T. and Dayton. Wow. I never did read the poem for August. Should we read it? Oh, it's long. It's real long. I'm not going to read it because it's so long. It's like 2 pages. Those assignments are literally life-changing assignments. Like, those are, I might like take those assignments to either I might share them both with my sponsor and with my therapist, and see what they think about me doing some of these assignments and where I should start with them. I mean, if you took this list to a therapist and said, I want to work on these things, I mean, this right here is like at least a year of therapy of doing these assignments and processing them. And the change that would occur from this would be so powerful, you know? And like I said, I don't know, and this is just my personal experience, obviously not expert experience ever over here, but I don't know that I would recommend doing some. I mean, obviously it's coming from an affirmation book, so they're recommending that you do it, so you could take their advice or not. But when I do some of these assignments and I do some of these journaling exercises, which I don't really journal so much. I'm starting the happiness journal, but I don't really do like a written kind of journal. But when I do assignments like that, and I have done these things like with the gratitude journal, the magic by Rhonda Byrne years ago and things like that, what I find is it sometimes brings out deep things in me that I don't know that I'm necessarily at that time ready to deal with. And so I've been very blessed that I have had, you know, therapists by my side or sponsors to process these things with and have them guide me through the journey of soul, so to speak, or through the journey of change, you know. And I felt like I had a safety net. I felt safer, you know, having that co-partner going through that, or that, you know, that guidance or that sounding board or that person just helping me along the way. So I would highly recommend that. But those are fantastic assignments, you know. All right. Well, let me know what you think in the comment section below. I hope that you guys are having a magically amazing Sunday. I love you, and I will see you tomorrow. Bye.